It's week 8, so this is the 2-month update. All right, so finishing the second month of work on the book about the history of the campus bus service at Kent State. I've been keeping track of time since I began to kind of get a feel for how much time I'm investing each week and overall. So initially, just the research side, which involves reading or basically looking up online newspapers. That's been a lot of time spent downloading those from the resources that I have, scanning documents that I have access to on hand that I don't have to go somewhere else for. So total, I put about 76 hours into that over the last 4 weeks. So it's almost 10 hours a week in just that. Administrative, which I'm kind of including in that, emails, phone calls, or anything along those lines of just kind of keeping tabs of how much time I spent outside of the other stuff. So that's been about 8.5 hours so far. I've started scanning documents, or not, scanning documents obviously, but scanning photos and slides that I have personally or other ones that I have access to. And that's been about 14.5 hours of both photo scanning as well as editing. Now, because I'm not 100% sure which photos of those that I have or will have will make the final book, I'm not really investing that much time into the editing of the photos. I'll do some quick and dirty, large scratches and stuff like that. I'll get those things photoshopped out, but I don't spend as much time in the nitty gritty because at this point it doesn't really matter. I may have hundreds and hundreds of photos, of which maybe a little over 100 will make the final book. So why invest the time now when I don't know what I have or what I'll need at that stage? So anyways, but a little bit of that's happening at this point. And then finally, interview prep. So I have an interview coming up tomorrow, is the time that I'm doing this. Will be my first interview, but it's been about 7 hours of prep for that. And that includes phone calls, work on the releases that I need for this, as well as building a question bank and all sorts of other things that I can kind of include in that. So that's been about 7 hours. So between the research, the administrative, the photo work, and kind of the interview prep, on about 106 hours invested so far in 2 months, which is actually a little bit above my expected work amount. I was kind of hoping for about 10 hours a week, so I'm a little bit above that, so I'll take it. I guess I've had the time available around my work schedule to put the time in. But to be honest, I kind of feel at this point, a lot of the things that I'm doing are kind of the low-hanging fruit, the really easy things. You know, I have things in my own possession that I can invest time in scanning or doing the photo work and all that stuff. I think as this is going on, it's probably a little bit harder to put that amount of time in just because I don't have it. I have to go spend more time finding it or spend more time going and getting it. So, and that's going to make it harder to do around a life outside of writing with work and home life. So we'll see how long I can maintain this. I'm kind of running out of some things to do in my free time, so towards this project. So I'm just about done with dealing with the newspapers online through newspapers.com and then through the Special Collections Daily Kent State, or the university newspaper that they've digitized. I'm just about done with that. There's a couple things I can think to go back through and look, and that's kind of how this happens. I did my initial run through every single year that's appropriate for this story. But then you'll find a name or an event or something like that. In some cases, it was like a business name. When I had to go back through and then search for that, because some of those things didn't show up in the initial searches when I was looking for like just campus bus service related things. So businesses are part of that. Big part of it is like names. So key individuals, they'll have articles written about them or by them that don't include the names or the words that I was searching for. A lot of times, again, I'm just searching for campus bus service or just bus, and those aren't showing up. So I found some good hits doing that, but even that's kind of trailing off. There probably isn't a lot to do. I'm sure I'll do more, but nothing like I've invested at this point. If I've done 76 hours, most of that's probably newspapers, at least 50 hours or so. I don't know, I'm guessing maybe 5 more hours. We'll get into that. Maybe 10 hours in the near future. So I've scanned most of what I've had on hand. I do have my own personal collection of photos and slides and some documents, my own personal artifacts from my time that I work there. I actually also have a box of campus bus service documents. Kind of a long story how I ended up with that over the years, but basically they went out of business before I could give them back stuff that was theirs, and so I've held on to it for the last 16 years now. So that'll go back into appropriate hands here now that I'm done with it. But anyway, so I'm done with that. So that's actually a big step to have that done. And I made my first trip to the Kent State Special Collection. So that sits on campus. It sits in the 12th floor of the Kent State Library. If you're familiar with campus, it's the tallest building on the campus. Only they're at the top of that. And so in their collection is all of the stuff that the campus bus service gave them when they went out of business or just before. I guess it was slightly unusual, as I've learned talking with the individuals that run special collections, for a department to be so, I don't know, forward thinking and contact special collections to say, hey, this may be important. What will you take? So they have a lot. So the campus bus service was really good about collecting stuff over their whole history. And they were also good about making sure that it gets into their hands. So they're going to be a huge resource for me to go and get future documents and photos. So this particular trip, just to kind of start simple, was to go and find photos. And for this, I'm particularly looking for photos that were dealing with May 4th shooting and the it's called Tent City protest. So the years that followed the May 4th shooting, there's a protest on campus about an expansion of the gymnasium, which kind of put the gymnasium on some of the grounds of which the May 4th shooting took place. So it was kind of treated as a hallowed ground by some or by more, and they didn't want to see the university kind of put just a building on it. So that's kind of a short summary of what happened. But anyway, there was a protest. It was called Tent City because they erected camping tents and they sat there for, I can't remember offhand, maybe 60 days or something like that. And one of the final events was the arrest of the students that were there, and they used the Kent State buses to transport the students to the Portage County Jail and the neighboring town of Ravenna. So I was looking for photos to show that event, and I actually kind of struck gold. I found some great photos that were taken during that event, and more important for me, not only did it include campus bus service, but it included Unit 2345, which is the bus that I own, which also is the bus that was used in the movie The Graduate. So I was thrilled to find a photo that placed this bus at that important event in Kent State history. So it kind of adds to the story of the bus, or kind of more accurately documents that. So that was a huge find to find the picture. So there's a lot of those photos. Of all of them, maybe one will make the book, so I have to pick which ones I feel is the best one. But anyway, that was a huge find for me, and that was just in this last week to find that. Another good find for me so far is what's called an interlibrary loan. So libraries are connected so that a document that you may want may not be in their collection, and they may find it for you in another library's collection. And so through the help of a librarian, I was able to find this, which the title is The Kent State University Center for Urban Regionalism, a Bus Priority System for Traffic Signals. So that was something that the early campus bus service did, was kind of a laboratory for transit projects. They kind of had their own little in-house department that would make things for transit, not just for them. The goal was to make something that would help transit nationally, something that could be applied elsewhere. And so this study, I don't know if that's the correct term, but it's kind of a publication about one of their attempts at this, which was creating a traffic signal system that would prioritize bus traffic around campus. I haven't read it in its entirety yet, but in short, there would be some sort of way of triggering this so that as a bus was approaching a traffic signal, that it would turn to green or stay green longer or something like that, and then this way the bus could get through and keep moving. So anyway, so it's not super long, but it does have some photos. It has some maps. So, and it talks a little bit about how it was made, which is absolutely fascinating. So, I think that may be an angle in the book too, is trying to explore that laboratory side of the campus bus service in those early years. And so this was a huge find to find this document, which was actually referenced in a couple things that I had found elsewhere, which is why I knew that it exists, but through the help of a librarian, I was able to get my hands on it. So this is wonderful. So I've scanned that, it's in my collection, so now I can return the book to the library, the Kent State Library, which was where it came through. Another thing that I can check off my list of things to do was, and I mentioned this earlier, was actually bumped my camera there, is getting business cards made. So I did just that. If I can zoom in on that. Whoop, there we go. So it's got my name. It has my email address that I'm using that I can hand out to people who have things to donate. It has the name of this YouTube channel. If anybody's interested in seeing what my little journal is about this, and I included some artwork that I'd made of Unit 23 in its paint scheme, and then on the back side, there we go, I just made, just for additional art, there are some of the destination signs that I had made years ago. I kind of put that on the back. So anyway, so now when I encounter people, I can give them this, if they, hey, where can I share information? How can I get in contact you? So I can hand this out. So this is nice to have. So I'll have some of those on me as I kind of maneuver around doing this book. So that was one thing on my list that's done now, which is kind of nice. So upcoming then is, my first interview. That'll be tomorrow, when that really matters, but whatever, when this video goes out, it'll be the day following. So barring any unforeseen interruptions, that'll happen. So that'll be nice to get that started, so I can hopefully build on that with other interviews and get as much personal information or experiences about their time at the campus bus service. Will be wonderful. I'm really looking forward to that. So challenges, leaving the second month and entering the third. The most recent one is going to be the coronavirus pandemic, as it's now been labeled for those in the future looking back on whatever this date is. What is today's date? Today is I look at my phone here, March 11th. So I guess as of March 10th, the Kent State University shut down all in-person education. So if you have a class, you're not going. I guess they're all doing remote stuff. So that doesn't affect me. But what does is, one of the initial changes with this is that they're limiting the amount of hours that the campus main library is open, and that's again where special collections are. So they're closed weekends and they're limited basically during normal business hours, which doesn't really affect me, but it does, because it does give me more limited hours. But I'm also concerned that this may be step one towards there being more limited access to things. And as I'm running out of things to do research-wise within my own collection, I need to use their collection, and I don't want to lose access to that. And we'll see where it goes. So I'm not too concerned about it, but it's just something to keep in mind. But that'll be a challenge moving forward, at least for the next, I think, 6 weeks is when they're planning to reopen the university in full. So yeah, I'm running out of things to do. So moving forward, it's probably going to be interviews and doing some initial outreach to other individuals to kind of connect with them and see what I can learn from them. And that's really about it. That's kind of the end of month 2. Again, my big curiosity is, at what pace am I going to be able to keep doing work on this book with what I have available to me, and how successfully can I incorporate interviews, meeting with people, whether it's on a phone or in person, and how productive those are. What information can I get from them, and hopefully it feeds some sort of need that I have with the book, or maybe it'll point me in a new direction. We'll turn up something that I didn't know and see where that leads. So that's the end of the week, or month 2, update. 106 hours in, and probably hundreds more to go. So That's it from here. Thanks for watching. Bye now.